Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Patrick McQuown, and I'm the Executive Director of Entrepreneurship here at Towson University. And today we're joined by 5 very successful entrepreneurs, and they'll be talking to you about their ventures. And what makes these people so unique and so special is that they were student entrepreneurs. They started their companies and got incorporated while they were still full-time students and working on their college degrees. So with us today, we have Brendan and Trinity from RADRR, and we'll introduce them in a second, Hunter from BarTrack, and Andrew and Cullen from SharkMarket. All these students have gone through the Summer Accelerator, and they're very successful in their ventures, and we're certainly very pleased to have them here today. So thanks so much for joining us, guys. So why don't we start with RADRR, with Brendan and Trinity. Can you guys introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about your venture?
Yeah, sure. My name is Trinity. I went to James Madison University, and we are the co-founders of RADRR. We were college kids, and we wanted to go out, didn't know where to go. We got tired of, not knowing where to go and being on a college budget. So we created RADRR, which is the first centralized platform to bring happy hours, food and drink deals, as well as live music and events to one central location.
Yeah,
and
so
I'm Brendan. I'm Brendan.
Yep, Trinity's co-founder. So these guys went through the Summer Accelerator, and what's interesting and I love about these guys is they were the only student venture picked for a national venture capital competition, a collegiate venture capital competition. So last spring, they went to Johns Hopkins universities and had MBA students determine if they were going to invest in them or not. And it was them and 3 other ventures. The other ventures were all led by people in their 40s. And the Georgetown team said the only venture worth investing in was RADRR. So you guys did very good, and we're certainly very happy with you. And your app is great. We look forward to seeing a demo of it later on. So Andrew and Cullen, TU Zone, tell us a little bit about SharkMarket and what your majors and what year you guys are.
All right, I'll go first. So my name's Drew. I'm a senior here at Towson studying business marketing. And so we're creating the SharkMarket, which is a free-to-play sports betting game where our users can compete against, their friends or in groups to just compete to earn the most points and do it that way. And then we were a part of the first inaugural accelerator program here at Towson that took place over the fall. And we made a lot of good connections from that. And we're kind of looking forward to keep working with them.
What's up, guys? I'm Cullen. I'm a senior at Towson, sport management major, business minor. Drew and I go a while back to high school, and we just kind of thought of this sports betting / fantasy hybrid of a game that we thoroughly enjoyed personally, and figured let's try and get the ball rolling. And we got lucky enough to get in touch with Patrick and be a part of that first Towson Accelerator and start web development and make good connections and get advice from a lot of different successful people. So we're hoping to just keep moving forward and with our website / application and see where we can take this thing.
So I think what I found most, kind of awesome about you guys is we'll get into the inaugural cohort and who the fellows were later on, but Cullen and Andrew were the only students. There were Towson faculty that were a part of this. There was the assistant director of emergency room medicine at Johns Hopkins. That was a fellow. There was a lawyer from that graduated from Northwestern, one of the best law schools. And Andrew and Cullen kept pace with everybody all along. And dare I say, when we had the showcase, they had the best presentation and the best pitch. You guys really did TU proud. We were certainly really excited for you guys. So look forward to hearing more about that. And then last of the day, but first in your heart, we have Hunter from BarTrack Beer.
What's up, guys? My name's Hunter. I'm one of the co-founders of BarTrack. Just like Trinity and Brendan, I graduated from JMU in 2018. And a little bit about BarTrack, it's a lot, so I'll keep it super high level. We created a hardware and integrated software solution for bars, breweries, and restaurants to monitor, inventory, reduce foaming, so reducing waste, and a whole bunch of other really cool stuff. So that's super high level.
Yeah. So it's been about been 2 years pretty solid that you guys have been in the market, right? If I'm doing my math right.
In the market, yeah, about like a year and a half.
Yep.
And
And
then we started
you're
up
in-
like 3 years ago.
you're in 7 states and 2 countries at this point, right?
We're about to be in the second country, but yeah, 7 states. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty remarkable. Good on you. And look, there's a lot we can say about you guys. You represented JMU and went against Princeton University and soundly gave them a thrashing. Which again proves that entrepreneurship is a meritocracy. You guys won the award for the Valley for most innovative company of the year, and you guys were still enrolled in classes when you won that. And then shortly after graduation, you were able to close on around just a little bit under $1 million. And then shortly thereafter that closed on around just a little bit under $5 million at a pretty healthy valuation. So you guys have been great. It's good to see you and Brett working together, and certainly we're really excited to see where you guys go. So always love seeing where BarTrack's going.
Appreciate that.
So yeah, absolutely. So Hunter and most of the SharkMarket team, we're dealing with kind of like business majors, but I'd be curious, Trinity and Brendan, you guys are not business majors. You guys are more in the STEM field. So tell us about your majors, and then kind of what surprised you when you got incorporated and you started going down this path and started to actually do business.
Yeah, so I was, I was in engineering. I double majored in engineering and biotechnology, and I minored in biochemistry. So I didn't really know too much about business before getting into the accelerator. I guess more so I didn't know how much I needed to learn. And I would say the first accelerator, it taught me a lot of that, but it's really just continued. Every day I learned something new. And that's one of the reasons I would say I'm really thankful for our mentors like Patrick and the rest of our mentors, because not being a business major, there's a lot we had to go back and learn, and there's still a large amount that we are continuing to learn. So yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot learned by doing. What about you, Brendan?
I was a unique major called Integrated Science and Technology. It's a pretty JMU specific major. It's basically a combination of technology and business. Not so much business. It's science and technology. And I concentrate in biotechnology and computer science. And I learned so much through Patrick's accelerator. I learned a bunch along the way. Business is like, as Patrick says, the dog years. So you just kind of growing constantly, and it's a crazy experience.
So I'd be curious, Hunter, you guys were one of the few companies that you kind of came up with BarTrack during a class exercise, during class project. And, there was the typical kind of academic, write a business plan and go from there, and, get the money, and voila, now you have a market. So I'd be curious, after doing that, that academic exercise, but then actually taking BarTrack and going from there, I'd be curious, like, what were surprises that you found along the way? Like, what were some of the learnings and surprises you found?
One of the biggest ones is just, failure. Like, along the way, you're gonna crash and burn a lot. And obviously in a college class, a college setting, the biggest failure that you'll get is like a bad grade. And with our class specifically, you had so giving you guys a little background, every single business student at JMU has to create a theoretical business plan, write the pro formas, the business plan, everything like that. And for us, we did that, and you have to do like a rough draft, final copy, all that. For the rough draft, we actually got the lowest class in the entire grade. It was like a D+ or something like that. And then we came back, and in the presentation and everything, we ended up getting the highest grade in the class, and then winning out of how many was it, Patrick? Like 200 different companies. Yeah, so we got first in that, and that's kind of like what pushed us and motivated us to move forward with the company and everything. Not that we weren't already doing it before, but it's a really good question. I would just say, yeah, there's obviously a lot more adversity like in the real world rather than being in school and everything. But I'd say the biggest thing is just not giving up and being persistent and going after it every single day, and just not giving up.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So Andrew and Cullen, we had to do our accelerator, virtually online, and everybody loved it, but that's because everybody doesn't know what they don't know. Whereas, Hunter and Trinity and Brendan, we all did it as a cohort together. And what I really enjoyed seeing, but I knew it would have happened much sooner had we all been together, was when the cohort, the rest of the companies in our accelerator, finally got what SharkMarket does. And it was kind of like a light bulb went off and the penny dropped, right? And like they all got behind and they're like, oh, okay, and you can do this and you can do this, and here's somebody I know and here's somebody there. So I'd be curious, what was that like for you? And then what was it also like, kind of showing up, doing the programming, which, as you recall, is pretty intensive, and certainly these guys know it too. But again, you guys were doing it with people with PhDs, with law degrees, and had decades of experience. And again, you held your own, which we were very excited about.
Yeah, I thought it was great. Definitely doing it online, and like you said, it took some time because we hadn't met these people before, and it's like you said, us being students and them having different paths and stuff, so that connection was a little tough to make at first. But then once you kind of realize how strong it is to be able to make those connections and work with each other, it definitely took off. And I know every single person in that cohort, even if we don't keep in touch on a daily, all the time, but they were all great people and people that, resources that you can reach out to and connect with when you need to. So, just really happy to be a part of it.
Yeah. What about anything extra to add to that, Colin?
Yeah, definitely. With you saying, being around a bunch of people with, PhDs, bachelor degrees, stuff like that, I definitely at first was it made you anxious because you just weren't sure. Obviously, we were so new to the entrepreneurship and starting a business / website. Pretty much none of us had ever done that before. And it was, but definitely, the cohort being online, we made the most of it, I think, and having a patience throughout the whole thing was definitely one of my bigger takeaways, just because Drew, our group understood exactly the product that we were trying to push. But like you said, with that light bulb, kind of that it would have definitely happened a little quicker in person, but because we were online, we kind of made the most of it. But once it did happen, it was like a very, a little victory, but like a very rewarding one, I think, personally, for the whole group. And then once we were able to do the virtual showcase, that was a pretty exciting thing. So, and being able, and obviously you kind of, being able to hype us up and, keep pushing that, we're all very, despite us being college students, we're very capable of, making this thing work and being successful with it. So it was a really good experience, and just having, patience, staying excited and staying motivated each week was the biggest thing with it being online, because I know sometimes it can be hard with these Zoom type calls to really stay motivated and focused in at times.
And then one last thing, going off of him talking about the showcase, I noticed, because we kind of kept it in the dark from, our friends at school and stuff, just because we were going through the program and we're building our website so that, the product isn't out there. But when we were kind of telling our friends, check this out, that, talking about the program, you could really see the excitement and kind of the passion that it would put in other students, because, everyone, wants to do something they love and has ideas. So I'm just kind of really excited to see where that direction kind of keeps building on, and from other Towson students as well.
Yeah. There's no doubt about that. And again, the good news is it seems that we're going to be able to do this summer's cohort in person. So that's really good news. And Hunter and Trinity and Brandon can attest to this. The first thing we do is that, you guys remember that Lost at Sea exercise, the collaboration exercise, right? So I didn't get to do that with these guys. You just can't do it online over Zoom. It's just not going to work. So to that effect, as we know, we talk a lot about collaboration and how the better outcome comes to collaboration. And certainly, BarTrack and RADRR, even though you were in two different cohorts of the accelerator, you guys are shared some things because you're in likewise spaces and you've been through the program. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Anyone specific, or just
the fact that now, RADRR launched, and they're in a lot of the Arlington market that you're in, but serving certainly a different a different service.
Yeah, that's awesome. The one thing I love about Trinity and Brendan is, even though we are like in the same market space, we're all like really close. We stay in touch. I hang out with those guys all the time. So I think one of the cool things, taken from the cohort is, just that, just the connection between everyone and, like-minded people doing, really cool things. Like, obviously it's not every day that, you're in college and you're starting up your own business. So seeing other people like that is like really cool. Then obviously the fact that we're in the same market space and, we share the same customers and can give each other leads and everything. That's pretty cool too.
One of the, I was going to say, one of the biggest things I've taken from being so close to BarTrack, again, is those failures. You don't realize how many failures you're going to run into, or, you have high ups, but you also have hard downs. And BarTrack has kind of been that crutch for us when we have a down, because they've probably been there too. They're little ways ahead of us. So we're able to reach out to them and say, hey, can you point us in the right direction? What should we do now? And Patrick always stresses how important connections are. And I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, and I was going to add on to what Hunter was saying about the connections, is that I remember I don't work for BarTrack, they don't pay me anything, but I went down and was helping them like literally do a sale and install one of their products, just simply because they didn't have someone in that area. And it's just, you build these relationships with people from the cohort that span long times, and you just really are focused and centered on helping each other out, and for no other incentive to help them out. And it's a really great feeling.
Yep, absolutely. So we have a question from somebody that's in the in health sciences, and they're curious about where to go if they have an idea for products or services in that space, but they have no business training. And so I would just iterate, the same thing. Come to us. We're here to assist you on that. And we've found that having a business background for entrepreneurship isn't per se a requirement. We've had a lot of successes with that, and Hunter and Trinity and Brendan can attest. There were a lot of people in the cohort that we had performing arts majors, we had health sciences. Zach Casey. I always like to say Zach Casey. He was health sciences, and he knew more about the human body, but because he owned a business and had revenue, he also knew more about cash flow than most people. So there's certainly not that requirement. So, in terms of failure, and you guys all remember this, right? Somebody else said it better than me. Only the outside world sees you as failing. You're not failing. And so, the quote about the light bulb, right? They said, well, how was it to fail 10,000 times? He said, I didn't fail 10,000 times. The journey to the light bulb required 10,000 steps. And so back in the days when I used to code, and my code wasn't working, I didn't sit there and think, oh, I failed. I'm like, no, it just doesn't work yet. And that's my job to figure out how it works. And as you guys recall too, the other thing is, show, don't tell. Remember the paper exercise and all that type of stuff. So at that, since it just launched and it's at a perfect batting average of 1,000% at 5 stars, let's see that demo of the brand new launched RADRR app. Let's see what that's all about.
All right, 1 second. Let me pull it up here.
And while Trinity's pulling that up, Luke, if you can raise your hand, so somebody can find you. If you can do that while Trinity's doing this, that would be great.
All right. So am I just running through a demo?
Yeah, just say what it does and just do it real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. So we basically created a platform that brings everything to one central location. So right here, I live in Arlington. So here's what's around me today. So for instance, let's say Bronson Beer Hall, their event today is happy hour, and there's their happy hour. But we went a little bit further, and we wanted to create kind of like a profile kind of feel to it. So there's favorite and unfavored buttons. There's also going. So all of those are on the back end providing metrics, unrealized metrics to business owners, because as Patrick says, and many others, data sells. So On the back end, we're providing business owners with lots of unrealized metrics that they wouldn't usually have. So there's also a list view, and these are the events around me today that are, happening, and they're done by distance. So if I go over to my profile, these are some of my favorite events. This is one that's happening now. These are the events that I'm going to. And then these are some of my favorite restaurants. And if you let's just click on one. We wanted to make it easy because we got tired of going back and forth from Uber and Lyft. So we integrated Uber and Lyft into the platform. So you can just click it and it already calls your ride. Those are all the events that this business is having in the near future. And then there's an events page that is trending events near you. And that's broken down by the number of clicks that it has, the number of favorites shared. So the more traction it's getting, the more it moves up on this page. And then For You is curated to the kind of events that you look at. I love Buffalo Wild Wings. I'm a regular goer. So, Buffalo Wild Wings is there for me. It's half price wing day if you didn't know it. And then we kind of break it into categories here. So like if you were looking for a happy hour, you could just click happy hour. If you were looking for, nightlife, there's not much going on right now because COVID, but there are a few things, and they have DJs in there. You can also go back here and search alternate cities. And if you go into list view, you can break it down into categories here to filter searches, and also dates. So if you're looking for a future date, there's lots of ways to search and filter through all of the events we're having. And as Patrick did say, we did just launch yesterday publicly. We've had lots of friends testing it for a long time. I think it's been like a year and a half that it's been in the making. And one metric that stood out to me today when I was talking to Patrick that I'm just going to relay is we now have 140 businesses on the platform and 14,470 events posted. And we just launched yesterday. So anything is possible.
Great job. Great job. And then Mikey, were you able to get a hold of Luke? Yep, I see Luke there.
Luke should be able to unmute himself.
Yeah.
Go ahead, bud.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, I was talking to Pat about your app earlier, and I've been in the restaurant industry for like close to 10 years now, just bartending and managing restaurants and stuff. And your app is definitely like very needed in the market as far as like being able to find specials and stuff goes. Cause I mean, all the time you can Google places and try to find happy hours, but when you type it in, a lot of the restaurants don't have exactly what their happy hour is listed. So you don't know what kind of food or drink specials you're getting. You can go to their website, and even on there, they don't necessarily have their happy hour listed. And a lot of times you find yourself calling the restaurant trying to figure out what those specials and stuff are. So the fact that you guys have it like popping up right there on the app for everybody to see is really huge. So
Thanks, Luke. Yeah, thanks. That's definitely needed. So yeah, Luke's in my class, and like I said, I just literally held the phone up and showed it to him, and Luke was like, "Man, I'm always in restaurants. That's needed so bad." And I played the old, "How do you find out about happy hours?" And they all said, "Just type in happy hours near me in Google and Safari on their iPhone." And they don't get up to date information. So we're super psyched for you guys getting out there, and can't wait to see the growth. So it's glad to see the days here, and it's finally public. You guys have worked hard for it. So Hunter, much where like Andrew and Cullen are, I remember very vividly when it was, the Hunter, Brett, and why am I drawing a blank on your other end? Yep. I remember when it was the three amigos, right? And so you guys have grown, pretty substantially. Talk to us about, as you start to grow out there and you have to, somewhat cede some of that control and bring on other employees to the venture and have them represent, to your customers, BarTrack and all that. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, we have a little bit over 15 full-time employees now, then another 15 part-time like contract workers. So it's about 30 people on the team right now. I guess a little bit more if you include our coders. But yeah, in order to get talented people, you're going to have to give up a little bit of the pie. To be honest, I'm the second youngest person in the company now, and I started off as, the youngest. So we're just, constantly hiring people that have had experience, that have been in situations like this before. So yeah, it's very, very important as you guys are like growing as a company to get a lot of talented individuals that, fit exactly where you need them in the business. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
What would you say is the biggest thing somebody can do potentially to get on your team, show you a trait they have or a skill set? And what would you say is the biggest thing they can show you that they don't belong and they wouldn't be a good fit on the team?
They wouldn't be a good fit on the team, then they don't drink beer. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. In order to fit, like I said earlier, it's just about, if we need a specific skill set and they fit that skill set, and, obviously culture means a lot to us. And as you guys are building out your companies and everything, culture is very, very important. You could have the most talented person in the world, but if they don't fit culturally in your organization and you might not get along with that person, then like 9 out of 10 times, that's not going to work. So definitely, cultural fit is very important. Obviously, like I said earlier, the skill set is very important. And, just someone, like for us, we like to have fun. We're all young and, we enjoy what we do and we love what we do. So we want people that are like passionate about it as well.
Yeah. Excellent. So in a minute, I'm just going to go quickly into some of the resources in the accelerator that are open to all TU people, as well as anybody in the greater Baltimore region. But before I do that, Hunter, just kind of touched on skill sets. And, I want to talk to Drew and Cullen about this because I know that, Trinity, Brendan, and Hunter kind of see this, but the skill sets that you guys delivered, and developed when you did the showcase, as I said, that's going to be with you for the rest of your life, that you guys can make a pitch that good at this point. So talk to us a little bit about that journey. Were you guys nervous? Did you not think you were going to, do it? Did you think this is crazy? There's no way we're going to be there. Or did you think it was going to be a walk in the park?
Yeah, I mean, there's always nerves involved with really giving any presentation. I'm not the best guest speaker in the world, but definitely nerves there. But touching on, it helps a lot. The four of us being close friends, we're in it together, and we really do have each other's back through this process, and we can tell each other exactly how we're feeling about things and that. But I'll let Cullen touch a little more on that.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely because we just didn't get any, in-person really practice for it. I mean, Drew and I were practicing over like FaceTimes and stuff like that, just kind of putting the phone down and like having a stopwatch on our phone and be like, all right, we're going to try and make this a 5-minute cutoff. Now, and it would be like, it was awkward at first because like he's obviously in his own home, I'm in mine, and I'm like, okay, now you go and say your part. And he's like, oh wait, now it's your turn. And obviously in person, it's a lot easier to kind of bounce the ball back and forth. But I mean, we knew that we wanted that showcase to be something that like we can look back on, others can look at and be like, it looks like they worked hard on that. They worked like they put the time in. It was fluid. It got to the point. I understand exactly the product they're trying to put forth. So it was actually funny. The morning of was the first time we were able to do it like in person, like 3 hours before. And we were definitely nervous, but once we understood that both of us had been putting in the time for our parts, on our own, it was like, oh, well, once we're good enough friends, we have the chemistry to kind of put it together as a pitch. This will be, a walk in the park once we realize that we know exactly what we're trying to say. And we did. So it was definitely nerve-wracking at first, but I think once we kind of understood that we had every thought and statement in our head, it was pretty easy to put it forth. Not easy, but something that we are definitely capable of doing so successfully.
Yeah, and it's funny. I'm not sure if you guys had it better or worse because usually Hunter and Trinity and Brendan had to give theirs in front of 300 people, right? And the deans are there and the president's there and members of the board of the university are there, and they had to do that. But same thing, we practiced all week. We're there in person, and every single person, delivered their pitch perfectly. Nobody stumbled anywhere. It was just so great to see each and every time. Whereas you guys had to show up to this room and there's this big hot light on you and a camera, and I even stumbled on that. I just wasn't used to the camera thing. So I'm not sure you guys had it better, but what was amazing was, bam, you guys nailed it on your first try. I mean, Colin, that was the first time I saw you in person, I think, was that day.
Yeah. I literally met the leader of the cohort like 10 minutes after we finished the showcase.
Yep, exactly. So I'm not sure you guys had it better, but again, you guys did phenomenal work. So we're really happy to see this. So let me tell kind of the audience a little bit about the accelerator, because applications open today and they close in March. So we certainly want to get as many applications as we can. So before I do that, this is kind of one of my favorite examples. Again, show don't tell. But some people see it as failure. That's not the case. And when BarTrack started out, and they were looking at technologies within the bar, reinventing the tap was first. And so they aimed out to do that. And again, these guys were students. They were students doing this and just using student resources and their fellow peers. And this is their first pour. Now, to continue on with that, that's about the level of Jim Carrey in Dumb and Dumber saying, "So you're telling me there's a chance?" And that's just it. These guys didn't say, "Oh, we failed. Let's give up. Let's move on. We have no right to be in here." They kept going. And as Hunter said, look, they'd been around for a while, but it took them, more than a year to finalize these products and get them ready for the market, where they had to meet, effectively no downtime and improve their clients' revenue by installing these systems. And so it's a process. And again, I know these guys well enough. In their head, they weren't like, "We failed, we stink, why, let's give this up." Instead, they're like, "Nope, let's just keep on it, let's keep going, and we'll get there." And so, that's entrepreneurship, right? There's no, we always say there's no process in it. If there was, we'd just give you a book and you'd read it and you could do it. But you have to figure out what the process is. So again, it's not failure. So the Summer Accelerator is a program that you'll apply to. When you apply, if you're accepted, it runs for 8 weeks. It's in person and it's cohort based. So all the fellows of all the ventures will be there, and it starts on the first Monday in June and ends on the first Friday in July. Now that doesn't mean it's over. That just means when you're reporting every day and you're getting programming, things like that. We give each venture a $10,000 stipend. That is equity free. That's for you to use. Now, we want you to put most of that money, the majority of that money, if not all of it, towards your venture. What we don't want is, we don't want you being a barista working at Starbucks, because we want this money to be used for rent and ramen as you're going through, and the rest of it for your venture. All the ventures have to be incorporated, and they all have to have some form of MVP or in the market, some form of traction, right? And so we can talk about MVPs later on. Doesn't mean it's the final thing like what BarTrack has. Doesn't mean it's the final thing like RADRR, launched in the App Store. Again, that comes later on, right? But we want to see that traction. We have a new program this year because, again, entrepreneurship, these guys have heard me say it a million times. You're building or you're selling. That's the only two things you're doing as you're going through this. But a lot of times we have entrepreneurs that can sell and they have the idea, but they need help building. So Andrew and Cullen, for example, took that $10,000, kind of gave it to a third party, and had them develop their app. So what we're doing that's new, and we will have it for this summer, is we will have what's called developers in residence. And so these will be, for example, computer science students that have been vetted through my friend, Professor Irani, in the computer science department. And these will be self-starters that can take your requirements document, look at what you're trying to build, and then actually build that for you. And they'll take residency with us and work with you over that summer. So now you don't have to take that money and go to an outside developer that you barely see. You're going to have somebody right in-house that's that's gonna do that for you. Potentially that person, you might want to bring them on as a co-founder, whatever you want to do, but that building will be done in-house. Now, during the 8 weeks as you're building and selling, you're going to receive programming, and that's on things that are basically requirements for entrepreneurship, right? It's going to be things like sales, it'll be leadership and company culture. We're going to do various scenarios where you have to sell, you have to pitch, you got to do that in front of everyone. Then we critique you. You will learn better than any MBA. I can promise you this. And I'm sure Hunter can attest to this. You will learn equity better than anybody out there. There's a saying that entrepreneurs don't understand equity in their first company, then they learn it and they understand it for their second company. Our goal is that you guys know it full in and full out, and that's probably one of the hardest programming things that we do. And then there's fundraising. How do you pitch? How do you fundraise? How do you determine the amount? All that type of stuff. So those are the programming things that we go through those 8 weeks. In certain colleges at TU, you can earn your internship credit for this. So Andrew, for example, was able to receive his internship credit for the summer accelerator. And then a few weeks after it, that's when we have the showcase. That's when you get up and you will present to various people within the Towson community, as well as potential clients, investors, partners in the region, and you will present your venture. This is not Shark Tank. You're not going to get judged. There's no first place or anything like that. Every venture gets up there and does it. And that's usually a pretty big moment for each venture. So we did do this virtually last summer, and Andrew and Cullen were part of that. And so we had 6 ventures that were in the cohort. And as I said, they were very diverse, and SharkMarket being the only one that was only TU students. The other ones, as I said, came from a lawyer that went to Northwestern University, a TU professor in the computer science department, as well as the assistant director of ER medicine at Johns Hopkins, who likes our program better than Hopkins. And so our hope is going forward that our summer cohorts are exclusively TU students and faculty. And then our winter cohort is for regional companies. This summer's cohort, 2021, will be a mix of TU students as well as regional companies. So we would like to see, applications from as many students as we possibly can. And then the really cool thing is, this is very, very unique. We have a 26,000 square foot standalone building that is coming online, that is 1 block off campus, right near where the Whole Foods is being built on York Road, if you know where that is. And it's called the Startup. And so the Startup, again, is 26,000 square feet. And Starbucks is moving in, so you'll have coffee, you'll have Wi-Fi, and there's plugs. And so kind of in this top right-hand corner is where the accelerator cohort will take residency. All the rest of the furniture is open to the public. So if you think about, trying to go to Starbucks to use their Wi-Fi and have a meeting, that's kind of low. And you think about, going to WeWork and paying for a space, that's pretty high. This is about a half a step shy of WeWork. It's got great furniture. It has tons of conference rooms. It has, like I said, a lot of plugs, a lot of Wi-Fi. You can have meetings in there. We're going to have events in there at TU. We're going to have speakers. This is where all the furniture will be cleared away, and we'll put the 300 chairs in there for the showcase. There's movie-size screens, LCDs, right on the first floor. And then upstairs, that I unfortunately don't have a printout for, is after companies get through the accelerator, they can take residency upstairs. So I like to say the first floor is the fishbowl. But the second floor is where you go upstairs for residency. And so there's office spaces up there, there's cubicles up there, and you can have access to those and stay up there. That way, if you still want to get, access to me or access to anybody else, or you want to have a meeting in any of the conference rooms, you can do that. So we're here to support you, on those things, not only with people, but obviously also with space. I'd be curious, especially, Hunter and Trinity and Brendan, where you guys are right now. Like we didn't have that. We didn't have the builders and residents. We didn't have, you know, the 26,000 square feet with an upstairs space, you know, for you guys to go and rent, but still have access to me, have access to each other, you know, and all that. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, we definitely didn't have anything like that. We had a very nice space. It was very homey, but nothing of that scale, but we made it work.
I'm jealous.
Yeah, I think brief period, wasn't your corporate address my old office space for a brief period of time? Yeah,
like a whole year.
You know, anything to support you guys. Yeah. So we're really excited about this. You know, it's going to really be a cutting edge space. It's open. The county is going to take some residency in there, but the rest of it is just, like I said, open for people to come in, and if they want to work on a business plan or have a meeting or do whatever, it's substantially better than going to like a Starbucks or anything like that. So it's effectively, like I said, going to WeWork and having it there. So at that, I want to stay on time. Are there any very pressing questions that anybody wants to ask our entrepreneurs? If so, just feel free to put it in the chat, and we can do that. All right, so we're good on time. I just want to say again, thank you guys so much for joining us.
Hey, Patrick, sorry to interrupt. Actually, there is a question that got submitted through the Q&A section.
Yep.
So it says, how do TU students participate in the cohort accelerator program? Do you reach out
Okay, I see it now. Yeah. So the best thing is the applications open up now. You can find them if you just search on entrepreneurship on the TU website. But as always, you can reach out directly to me, and I'll walk you through. And if you want us, you know, to check your application before you submit it, you know, just ask. The answer is always no unless you ask. I mean, I know these guys can attest that I'll always help out in anything that they ask me to. So feel free to do that. But thank you everybody for joining us. To our panelists, thank you again. I know you guys are super busy and you're building these awesome companies, and it's a pleasure to have you. And it's really unique that you're student entrepreneurs, and you know, we're all kind of in this fraternity together. And so you're doing great. And we'll have some giveaways for you later on. But thanks so much for taking your time and joining us today, and thanks to everybody in the audience as well.
Oh, okay, and actually, one more question came in. Sorry.
Yep. What's that one?
One more last minute question.
What is the one piece of advice each of you would give a student that is interested in startups? Something you learned. So what would you say the biggest thing you learned is?
I would say hire slow, fire fast.
Yeah, there you go. You listen to Patrick.
Yeah. You're gonna run into a lot of people that like are gonna say they share the same vision and passion as you, and they will jump ship on you at the last minute. And so just be ready for people that just aren't gonna commit to the same level you will.
And get your equity tight and right with you and your co-founders, because if you don't, that's going to come back to haunt you. We can attest to that one too. Anybody else have anything they want to add?
Don't be afraid to stand out. Don't be afraid to do something a little unorthodox, just to be remembered. It pays off in the long run.
Purple cow, baby. Yep.
Oh yeah.
I'd say be fluid.
What's that?
I would say be fluid. You have to be fluid with your idea. It's going to change. The idea you start with is probably not the idea you'll end with.
100%. Let the market determine where it goes, not you. What would you say, Hunter?
If you dream it, you can do it, and don't give up.
What is it? Hard work works.
Hard work works. Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Did you have anything to add, Andrew?
Yeah, I was going to say something similar to Trinity, which is how important that, you know, the core idea is, but then not sticking on that core idea. And like you always would tell us, you know, let the market dictate it, and build, measure, learn. And that process is just, you know, it's a constant process that you're always going to be going through.
Yep. I know you all have your back tattoos of build, measure, learn, the iterative process. That's what it's all about. All right, everyone. Thanks again for joining us so much. It's been great having you. Thanks again, guys.